Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. It is episode 101. It's hard to believe that um, we've come this far. I am Dr. Jeff Evenson. I'm a board certified doctor of holistic health. I do not practice medicine. Instead, I practice holistic healthcare and help people get to the root cause and turn their health around. Okay, I'm going to make a video later today that touches on an epiphany that I had even in my own health journey, and I'll do a quick video short on that later today. But it's it's always a constant work in progress, isn't it? Figuring out how to get our health back. And let me turn on my comments. Good morning, Christine. Love to see you. Yes, she's in Indiana. A woman near and dear to my heart, helping me make sure the show goes without a hitch. All right. So, it's been an interesting week. It really has. I had three new clients step up, and it just really made me think. It's like, there's a common thread here that I wanted to touch on for the show. Okay. And so we're going to go through that. I'm also changing the format of my show a little bit. I normally have been streaming for an hour, and I did that for 100 episodes. Streamed every Saturday, almost every Saturday. Sometimes there was a Sunday in there, and sometimes I missed a Saturday, but I did finally reach the episode 100 mark, and it was always for an hour. And so I'm going to try a new format and drop it down a little bit to 20 minutes. I've had some people suggest that, and all I can do is try and see how it is received and whatnot. So let's dive into it. I I really appreciate if you've been with me since the beginning. If you were with me last week, thank you so much. Last week was that milestone 100, and I'm really grateful for every one of you who showed up for it, who shows up for any of the videos, or if you watch them later on replay time, that's cool too. But today I want to do something a little different. I want to tell you about my week. Okay. Not because my week was particularly unusual, but because of a pattern that I noticed. I had three different people come through my door this week, different ages, okay, all of them different backgrounds, completely different health situations, and every single one of them said something that stopped me, okay? They each told me in their own words that nobody had been able to explain what was going on with them. Three people, same sentence. And I thought, that's the show today. Because I'd be willing to bet that someone watching this right now has said that exact same thing. Maybe to their doctor, maybe to a spouse, maybe just to yourself in the car on the way home from another appointment that didn't go anywhere. I hear that thread often. This week it popped up again in succession, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk about that on the show. Because I think the medical system is missing that huge opportunity to actually sit down and work with their client or their patient and get to know them and just avoid rifling them in and out. Oh, that didn't work for you. Here's a new script. Try that. And it just constantly goes. And I call that, you've heard me talk about that on other shows, as the medical meat grinder. In fact, I have a website called that. Go to it sometime, medicalmeatgrinder.com. And it'll explain more of what I'm talking about there. But that phrase, okay, nobody could tell me what was wrong. And if you're just joining the show, please jump in and in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. So nobody could tell me what was wrong. You know, and I hear that more than almost anything else in this practice. And I've been hearing that for 17 years, or I've been doing this longer than that. And I want you to understand something before I go any further, okay? When someone says that to me, I don't hear frustration with their doctors, okay? I hear exhaustion. I hear years of trying. I hear someone who has done everything they were supposed to do, and yet they still don't feel right. And somewhere along the way, that experience starts to get inside your head, okay? You start wondering if maybe it really is just stress. Maybe it really is just aging. Or maybe you're being too sensitive about it. Or as a client, I did an emergency house call yesterday. I don't do those often. Maybe it's you've been told that it's all in your head, that it's mental. Okay? Well, you're not being too sensitive. What I have come to understand after 17 plus years in this work is that conventional medicine is very good at what it's designed to do. It's designed to diagnose disease, to find what's structurally broken, and when something is structurally broken, it is exactly where you need to be. And I've told my clients this. If you break an arm or a leg or something, God forbid, don't call me. Because conventional medicine is very good at reacting to that and rebuilding. Okay, but there's a gap. And that gap is enormous. It's the space between your labs are normal and you feel terrible. And that gap is where most of the people who find me have been living, sometimes for years. So the 3 people I saw this week, they've all been living in that gap. Okay, so grab your coffee. Let's dive into these cases. I think they're pretty interesting. Case number 1, I have a gentleman in his 70s. Okay, he's a strong guy. Used to be very active. He's the kind of man who built his life around doing things, being physical, being sharp. Okay. He's been a faithful follower of the conventional medical system his whole life. He's done everything his doctors told him to do. But lately, things are slipping. His energy has dropped. He's forgetting words mid-sentence. And for a man like him, that's alarming. Okay? He's on a significant prescription cycle, managing multiple conditions. And he came to me because he's starting to notice that despite doing everything right by the book, things are getting worse, not better. Now, I want to be transparent here. I'm not a medical doctor. I always start every show with that. I am not a medical doctor and I do not practice medicine. So I don't touch his prescriptions. But I told him directly, if we work together and anything changes, you consult your physician before you change anything with your medications. That's a full stop, okay? That's not negotiable. But here's what I found when I assessed him. His body is carrying a significant pesticide load. Agricultural chemical burden that has accumulated over decades. And when you understand what pesticide accumulation does to neurological function, to energy production, even to cognitive clarity, the picture he's been living starts to make a lot of sense. And no blood tests found that. Okay? No imaging found that. But his body knew. And when I tested him with quantum nutrition testing, his body told me. What does he have to look forward to? Well, he told me he wants his active years back. And he's not ready to slow down. He wants healthier, older years. And he came to me because he finally decided to look somewhere different for answers. And I respect that enormously. Case number 2 is a woman on the other side of cancer. Okay. The second person is a woman who has been through something most of us hope we never face. She came to me after multiple surgeries related to cancer treatment. She's on the tail end of a 2-year post-treatment protocol with her oncologist, and here's the part I think is worth noting. Her oncologist suggested she find a holistic practitioner to support her through this next phase of recovery. Think about that for a moment. Her medical doctor, her cancer doctor, recognized that there was something this phase of her healing needed that conventional medicine alone wasn't going to provide. Okay, and so she found me. And what I did what did I find when I assessed her? Okay, so I found a heavy parasite load. Okay, her body, after everything it's been through, the surgeries, the treatments, the years of fighting, is now carrying a significant parasite burden that conventional medicine was not looking for. I suspect she's had it for years. Most of us do. When we're working on a parasite case, most of us have had these critters floating around inside of us for years before the body finally says, I can't handle this burden anymore, I need help. I suspect that's also what drove her into the oncologist. We're learning more and more about cancer and its connection to parasites, along with toxic chemicals and some other factors too. But it's becoming really common. So we're going to help her move those parasites out, okay, systematically, in the right order, supporting her body the whole way through. And what does she have to look forward to? Well, grandchildren. She has a daughter, family. She told me she wants her health now so she can be present for the people she loves. After everything she's been through, that's what's driving her. That's not abstract wellness, folks. That's a reason to get up in the morning. And the third case is a young father, okay? He's a young man starting out, and he and his wife have a newborn, relatively new, maybe 2 or 3 months old, and they want to grow their family even more, okay? So on paper, he should be in the prime of his life. But he's exhausted, chronically. And I'm not talking the tired, new kind of dad kind of exhausted. I'm talking about the kind that doesn't lift. He's dealing with irregular digestion, irregular sleep, and a fatigue that's become the background noise of his daily life. And when I assessed him, I also found parasites. Okay? And both him and the other parasite case I talked about, once we got him on the protocols, they've been moving parasites out already. Okay? And so his body is redirecting resources toward managing a parasite burden while he's also trying to function as a husband, a father, a provider, a human being. His conventional workup didn't surface it, okay? But quantum nutrition testing found it clearly. So what does he have to look forward to? Well, his daughter. And the fact that they want to expand their family, okay? A healthy marriage. He wants to be present and energized for all of it. And right now he can't be, because his body is spending everything it has on something neither he nor his doctors knew was there. Okay, so, and we're going to change that. So let's talk about the reframe. Okay. 3 people, 3 completely different life situations. 3 different root cause stressors: chemical burden, parasite load, and a post-treatment body that's been through the ringer. And the same story underneath all of it. Something was going on that conventional medicine wasn't designed to find. And I want to be careful here because I'm not standing here to indict anyone's doctor, and I mean that. The physicians these people worked with were doing their jobs. They were looking for what they were trained to look for. The system they work within is built to diagnose and treat disease. But there is a category of burden, chemical accumulation, parasitic load, regulatory dysfunction, dysregulation, toxic overload, that lives outside that framework. It doesn't show on a standard panel, it doesn't light up on imaging, and it doesn't mean you're imagining it, okay? Your body isn't broken, it's overwhelmed. And there's a significant difference between these two things. A broken body needs to be fixed. An overwhelmed body needs to be supported in the right order, with the right process, starting in the right place. That's what this work is. That's what I do every day. And if you've been sitting with my labs are normal while your body tells you a completely different story, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not crazy. You're not too sensitive. You haven't failed at your health. Something has been missed, and it can be found. So, if any part of what I described today sounds familiar, the fatigue that doesn't lift, the brain fog, the digestive issues, the sleep that doesn't restore, the sense that something is just off and nobody can put their finger on it, I want to invite you to take a step. We start every new client relationship the same way. A full assessment. Day one, we look at everything your body is carrying and find out what's actually driving your symptoms. We're looking at your whole health history. I'm sitting down and I'm actually talking to you. And over the years, I like to think I've gotten pretty good at listening and hearing what you are saying. Then for day two, I sit down with you and walk you through what I found and exactly what we're going to do about it. Because I write up a report of findings. And in the report, I'll sit down and explain, here's what I found, here's what my recommendations are, here's how my program works, and here's what it costs. And at that time, you can decide to get on the bus with me or take a walk and have a nice day. Okay, but at that point, you'll have the data and the information to make your choice, to make a decision about what you want to do. I'm a pretty low stress, low pressure kind of guy when it comes to working with new clients because one, I kind of doing that sales thing is not my favorite part of the job. Okay, I'll just be honest with you. So I try not to bring any pressure to it. But we're gonna hit that world with no guessing, no symptom chasing, a real process with a real sequence. Okay, if that's what you've been looking for, reach out. The information is in the description below or up in my bio. Go to evensonholistic.com. This is where I can turn on the banner and show this across the bottom. This is how you get a hold of me. And you can, I would recommend booking a quantum nutrition testing full assessment. Okay. There's a special running. Grab the coupon code that first comes up on the page. There's a special running that brings that price to $150. Okay. So I'd love to have that conversation with you. So thanks for spending your morning with me, and I'll see you next week. Okay. This is Doc Jeff. Take care of yourselves out there. I'm going to just say a quick prayer. So pray with me, please. And before I do that, good morning, Darla. Thank you for tuning in. Real quick, there's a few other people on here. Throw in the comments where you're watching from. It's always fun to see where things are at. And if you have any questions, I'll open that up. Throw them in real quick, and I'll just hang here for a second. I know there's a time lag, for things as I say them for you to hear it. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close in prayer. And if something comes in during that time, before I sign off, I will answer that question. So please pray with me. Lord, thank you for the 3 people who walked through that door this week, for the trust they placed in this work and in me. Each one is carrying something they've carried for too long. Give me the wisdom to find what needs to be found, the humility to know my place in their healing, and the discipline to follow the process you've built into the body itself. May the work we do together bring them back to the life you intended for them. Amen. So, okay. That's all I have for you today. Let me know what you think about the 20-minute, the shorter format. Throw something in the comments, and I will definitely take a look at those. But until next week, thank you. Love you guys. We'll talk to you later.